is handling rejection and following up after you get rejected. Hello guys, my name is Blake and I make videos on travel and freelance. So today I just want to make a super quick video on the top 5 mistakes that every freelancer makes in the initial part of their career and how you could avoid them or have better solutions to them. But before we start this video, please make sure you like and subscribe. It means so much to me, and please make sure you stick around to the end because I have something super important I want to tell you, and I cannot tell you right now. So getting right into tip number 1, the first thing you're going to want to avoid is cold emails. So there's a number of reasons why you're going to want to avoid them. First off, they are cold. This person doesn't know you. There's no face. They have no relationship with you, so why are they going to reply to you? They're going to think you're spammy or a scam. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find the person's Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn and message them there. You have a profile, you have your experience right there, you have everything that they need, and you kind of have a connection already. So just with that face-to-face, it's really going to help you. I know a lot of blogs say, like, they'll give you the template and they'll tell you to send an email with this, and that, but it just usually never works. And when we were first starting out, we would send out tons of emails just explaining what we did. Hey, we're Simple Flow, but they never replied just because why would they? They don't know who we are, and it makes sense. So you're gonna really just want to have that face-to-face, have some sort of like Facebook Messenger, Twitter, something like that where they can really see who you are and know that you're a real person. Getting into tip number 2, you're gonna want to avoid the PayPal fees, the money transfer fees, whatever it may be. So most likely when you get your client, they're gonna be paying you a large sum of money. And most likely it's not gonna be a check or cash because I'm gonna be assuming that, like with my case, that it's around America, around the world, whatever it may be. You're gonna wanna put into the invoice that there are gonna be extra fees just for what PayPal takes out of. I honestly prefer using apps like Zelle or TransferWise. I know TransferWise maybe waits like 1 day, but it is worth it just to get the right sum of money. Just because, you don't want to get paid less than what you're really like getting. I know it might be like maybe $10 to $15, but it's still something that you're getting less than of, and I wouldn't really like it. So I just want to let you guys know about that. Getting into tip number 3, some freelancers might make the mistake of not putting everything in writing. So right after your phone call and everything is agreed upon, you're going to want to write up a proposal. And in this proposal, you're going to want to explain everything you had in the Zoom call or whatever it is. And I suggest that you also record your Zoom calls just so you and your client knows what exactly was wanted and what you need and what is exactly going on, just so there's no like little bumps in the road or whatever it may be. So after you look at that recording, go over it in the proposal, write down everything, and just have it in writing so you can look back on it when 14, 20 days have passed and you guys kind of forgot where you're at. It's really important to have things in writing just so you know and your client knows what exactly is going on. All right guys, and getting into tip number 4, which is a reasonable mistake, is handling rejection and following up after you get rejected. I think a lot of people think that once they get rejected that it's it, that's the end all, they don't want you, like the client is uninterested, but sometimes that's not always the case. You can hit them up 2 to 3 months later and ask them if they found anyone, just some small talk, see where they are and if they're still interested maybe. The whole point of following up is planting the seed you planted the seed months before, and now you're seeing where they are. So, just ask them how things are. I actually have a really good story. Back when I was living in Thailand, I got rejected by this woman. She rejected me. She said she found someone already. I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. And, I messaged her again, and it turns out she needs someone for Google Analytics. And I'm like, oh my God, I could do that. So now we're partnered up, and now we help each other. And it's just like that. So, you want to plant the seed, and, you already have that relationship from months ago, maybe a year ago, whatever it is. And just let them know, ask them where they are, ask them how they're doing. And yeah, just planting that seed, letting people know that you're still around, and just, gracefully handling rejection and just going back after them and just seeing where they are. There's nothing wrong with that. And yeah, the whole point of this is really planting the seed. So they know what you offer, they know what it is you do. Now just go out and be like, hey, how's it going? It will also really impress them because they'll be like, oh wow, they remembered my conversation. Most likely it'll be on Facebook Messenger, so you'll see the conversation. But you know what I mean, they'll feel taken care of, and that's how you want your client to feel. You want your client to know that they're in good hands. So yeah, just be able to go after them. I think, like I said, I think a lot of people think that once you're rejected, that's it, but that's really not the case at all. Just see where they are maybe a month, 2 months later, And that's it. See if they even found anyone. Getting right into number 5, this is something that everyone struggles with once they start beginning to freelance, is undercharging or charging too high. So most likely you're not going to struggle charging too high just because you're going to think that your service or your skills is so easy because you know what it is, but to your client it is absolutely like something they do not understand. So you need to take that into mind. So for example, you hire a plumber to come to your house and most likely they're going to be charging around $200, but all they're doing is just twisting a knob. They're there for 10 minutes and then they walk out. And you're like, oh wow, I could have done that, but you couldn't because you didn't know how to. And in a way, that's kind of the client. In the way, the client has no idea what it is that you do. All I'm saying is don't set yourself too low. You know, you took the time to practice your skills, to watch those hours-long YouTube videos, to do all the reading, to go to the freaking coding boot camp. You did it all. So please take that into consideration when you're charging. And I'm not saying to be charging like $5,000 for one person's website. That's absolutely ridiculous. But what you can do is you can look at what other people are charging and kind of like, you know, kind of like eyeball it and then consider what work you have to put in to get to give to your client. Like for example, is there SEO? Is there blogs? Is there like, what is it? Are you hand coding it? Most likely you're not, but you know, for example. So that's all I'm just trying to say is just make sure like what it is you're putting in and how much you actually want to make. And something else you can really do is you can give yourself goals. So think about, all right, so like for example, you have one client and you know there's just an individual small business owner, maybe a life coach or something. You're probably not going to charge them $5,000, but eventually you can work up to something where maybe you're working with a company of life coaches and they all are like in the same niche and they need a business website. I don't know, I'm just giving an example, but that's what I'm saying. Then you can charge more. So you could take your, like, you could crawl up there and take your baby steps to get to where you need to go. All right guys, and these are just some common mistakes that freelancers make when they're first starting out, and it's so understandable. We all make these mistakes, and it's just something that we have to work on as, you know, individuals. Ask yourself what it is you want out of freelancing, how long you want to do this for. You know, ask yourself all the deep questions and then you will get answers. And yeah, so getting right into my little thing that I want to tell you about is I have a course all about freelancing and all of the things that have helped us. So I made this course mainly because I would go onto YouTube and Google how to become a freelancer. And like, you know, it's all the same generic stuff. So I wanted to make a course out of just real life experiences. You can find that in the description below. And also I'm going to be giving consultations with Jordan. So there's going to be a whole thing in the description below about all of that, and you know, you could book a meeting with us and we can discuss with you what your goals are and what you want to get out of freelancing and how you can find clients, and we can, you know, just help you more clearly. So that is it guys. I hope you love this video. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, just comment below what you want to see more, and I'd love to do that for you. I'm having so much fun making these freelancing videos. I hope you are loving them because, you know, like, I'll make it a whole video on why I love freelancing, but that's not the reason right now. I just want to tell you guys that your support means everything to me. Yeah, I hope you guys have an awesome day.